there's these 25 points that I made to my daughter, and I'll run through them, but then I pulled some separate ones that I think I just want to talk to you about and share with you and challenge you to think about them as you head into your career, and then I'll be glad to take any questions. Do the right thing. Family first. Remember people's names. Set written goals. Find passions outside of work. Too much alcohol is not your friend. Hear that. I don't talk about that later. Too much alcohol at work is not your friend at all. Work more than other people. Be great at something important. Be honest even if it hurts you. Network, network, network. Help other people while expecting nothing in return. Are you an entrepreneur or not? Know who you are. Accept responsibility for your own actions. Enjoy your job or work environment or make a change. Do not hang around people who will not support your career growth. Do what you say you will do. To get what you want, ask the people who can say yes. There are no failures, only outcomes. Listen to gain understanding. A strong but well-managed ego is important. Pick your boss. You are always becoming and never there. Help your business make a profit. The customer is not always right, and be very self-aware. Those are the 25 points that I shared with her with some written information underneath. And I want to go through a couple things. Do the right thing. You're going to be journalists. I hope you're a phenomenal journalist, or I hope you support phenomenal journalism organizations. You're going to be faced every day with minor decisions on doing the right thing. How you write a story is a do the right thing. Are you going to put your opinion in there to slant the story? Or are you just going to give the facts and tell the story? What's the right thing to do? You're going to find out, if you're investigative journalists, about bad things going on. Are you going to turn the other cheek because you don't want to get there, or are you going to look into it? Do the right thing as an operating mantra for anyone in the world in their normal life, but definitely in business, is a really critical thing. I have always tried to do that. I've always taught people, look, if your process, your final decision, because I have to delegate a lot, is I thought through everything and this was what I thought was the right thing to do, I will never argue with you. I may disagree that it was the course we should take, but that's all I want you to do. I want you to process through the filter of doing the right thing. Your life will be much easier, your career will be much easier if you pass all your decisions through that filter. Set written goals. You probably can't read this. That's Bill Hendrich, excerpts from written goals in December 18th, 1991. I've written goals for a long time. I have them before that. I know I wrote them before that. Those are the first notes that I can find. And I just wanted to share with you the kind of goofy crap I put in written goals. But the key is I wrote them down. A lot of people will try and fool themselves and say, well, I got my goals in my head. You don't have them if you can't read them and check off and go, how are you doing? Things that I wrote down is learn to be a general manager, which would be of a radio station, from Rich, my boss. Learn the areas of knowledge that he sees as important for a GM by January 31st. I gave myself a deadline to learn to be ready to grow. Be prepared to put in place a customer service representative by January 1993, way ahead of my time. On down to, by December 31st, 1999, now he'll have at least $150,000 in savings or liquid investments. The point of written goals is it gives you this guiding light of where you're going to go. It allows you to determine career decisions, spending decisions, relationship decisions. If I give you a gift of anything, it will be start writing your goals and follow them. Look at them twice a year. You don't have to obsess over them, but make sure you're on track. Begin with the end in mind. Where do I want to be? Even if it's only 5 years from now, where do I want to be 5 years from now? And write the goals that will get you there. You have a better chance of getting there than anyone else you're going to compete against, because most people won't do it. And the fact is, in this room, maybe 5% of the people will hear my advice and do it. So it's so much easier to get ahead because people just aren't going to do it. Work more than other people. Mark Zuckerberg, Kevin Hart, and Michael Phelps. I love the Mark Zuckerberg quote because everybody thinks, oh, Facebook, he's this young billionaire. That's just phenomenal. The real story of Facebook is that just we worked so hard for all this time. I mean, the real story is actually probably pretty boring, right? I mean, we just sat at our computers for 6 years and coded. 6 years and coded. How many other people had a grand idea and didn't have the patience, the drive, the passion to do that? Hundreds or thousands of people probably had very similar ideas. Kevin Hart's quote is great, and Michael Phelps won more Olympic medals than anyone else. If you want to be the best, you have to do things other people aren't willing to do. You know this about yourself right now, instinctively. How hard are you willing to work? Really, how hard are you willing to work? You will discover when you get into the workplace. I will tell you, I was a lazy student. I was not the greatest. Like I said, there's some professors in the business school that, what? I'm going to lunch with one of them today, actually. One of the few that gave me an A. But you know this about yourself, how hard you're willing to work. When I got into the business world, I learned that I really loved work. And I look back here, educationally, I wasn't that engaged. In my fraternity, I knew the bylaws, I knew everything. I got elected vice president my sophomore year. I was locked in because it was like a business. I wasn't thinking about that, but I learned about me. I love to work, and I will work harder than most people you'll ever meet. How did you get your job? Well, there's a lot of luck, and I worked really hard. So hard work is key, and you have to be willing to do it. It's easier to do it if you find a passion, if you find what you love, if you pick a boss, which I put up there, and you work with people you love. Be picky about where you work on that. Be honest even if it hurts you. Don't sugarcoat things or be deceitful. It's just better to be honest. I had a boss that looked at me once and said, I just can't get mad at him because he tells the truth. If I messed up, I just say I messed up. I made a mistake. There are no failures, only outcomes is another thing. I was trying to do right the best I could, but it didn't work out. If you just are honest, people learn that about you and will respect you, and they'll actually give you a pass on things if they don't go completely right. If they got to constantly figure out, am I trying to figure them out? Are they lying to me? Are they giving me half-truths and all that? They have to expend far too much energy trying to figure that out. If a boss has to expend a lot of energy trying to figure out, are you really sick or not? How many times can your aunt die? All of these kind of things. It's better for the boss to not have to work with you than if you're just honest and say, this is what I got to do, this is what's happened, or whatever. Your honesty, even if it hurts you, will benefit you in the work world. Network, network, network. As many people as you can meet in the business. And when you're in the business, keep meeting people and build this network. If I could go back and do something better, I'd have built networks much earlier. My networks exist now, but I could have used them 15 years ago with the exact same people. I just didn't build them. But getting to know as many people, finding out what their needs are, your needs are, and staying connected is a really important thing. You never know where that next great job opportunity is going to come from, and you never know when you're going to need to ask someone about coming to work with you. The bigger the network you can build, the better you're going to be in job stability and your ability to control your own destiny at work. Accept responsibility for your own actions. Scoop your own poop. You know, if you did something wrong, accept it. Clean it up and fix it. Don't start pointing fingers and blaming everyone else. Just accept responsibility and go forward with it. That's sort of the be honest even if it hurts you. But people will respect you when you man up. I have an email exchange going with my general manager in Jacksonville today because something got announced. A filing happened with the FCC that affects his team, and he didn't know. He knew it was coming. He didn't know it was going to happen. And he heard about it when he was in Washington, D.C. from another broadcaster from another company. He was hot. I get it. And I tried to figure out where that breakdown was, and the breakdown was me. I wrote him an email today and said I had to take full responsibility. There's been so much communication going on, I assumed you were in the loop, and I didn't check. There is nowhere else to look. I apologize. I'm sorry. It's my responsibility. That's it. It's not our communications department. It's not the FCC lawyer responsibility. It was mine because I'm the boss. And so accept responsibility, and it'll allow you to move on really quickly. Don't hang with people who will not support your career growth. I came across a story years ago. Don't know if it's true or not, but it's a great story, so I get to tell it over and over again. And it's called The Story of the Australian Crab. And it talks about a fishing pier in Australia where the fishermen fish using live crab for bait. And they keep the crabs in open buckets on the pier with no lid or anything on it, and then just use them as they need them. And inevitably someone comes up and says, you got crabs in a bucket. Aren't they climbing out and getting away? Well, how many crabs are you losing? And they say, well, we never lose any crabs. And how can you not lose crabs? They're great climbers. I say, because every time there's a crab in the bottom of the bucket with other crabs, and it breaks away and tries to climb up, another one reaches up and pulls it back down. People do that to you all the time. They tell you what can't be done, what you can't do. Do you have a family and friend support group who encourages you to be great or reminds you of what you're not capable of doing? You can't pick your family, but you don't have to hang out with them. You do pick your friends. Do they support you? Do they want great things for you? Will they help you? Are you hanging around other successful people? The greatest way to have success is to keep hanging around people who are having success. You pick that environment that you're going to be in, but know that all the time, you get a job as a reporter, brand new job as a reporter, and you're in, the veteran reporters are going to try and help you. And they're going to come and you're going to give them this idea and they're going to say, oh no, we've tried that. That doesn't work. You can't get to that person. And it's the crab pulling you back down. You go find out if you can cover that story, if you can do it. Don't let other people pull you down. It is human nature for people to pull you down. Do what you say you will do. I love this quote. Don't know who Nicole Gillen is, but I love the quote. What you say and what you do are two different things. It is the difference in the two that shows the truth of who you are. Do what you say you're going to do. If you promise it, make it happen. I had an employee that worked for me as a sales manager, and she had a habit of carrying the conversation forward by going, okay, okay, okay. And what everybody there thought she was doing was saying, okay, right? And then she wouldn't do it because she wasn't agreeing to it. You got to do what you say you're going to do. And I had to pull her aside and say, stop saying okay, and that. But if you promise to do something, you need to do it. It's about your career credibility.